Hello. Our book today is Jamaica's Blue Marker. And for this story, if you have not already gone back and watched the David's Drawings book, you need to watch that first because I do have a question or two that compared this story to that story. So if you have not already watched David's Drawing, please go back and watch that video and then join us back for Jamaica's Blue Marker. This one is by Juanita Haville, and illustrations are by Annie Sibley O'Brien. Jamaica's Blue Marker. Jamaica closed her eyes and thought about her picture. Mrs. Worth always said to think first, then draw. Jamaica opened her eyes and drew a tree on her big sheet of paper. Then she drew leaves falling off the tree and colored them yellow. Jamaica, Miss Worth said, could you please share your markers with Russell? He doesn't have any. He never has anything he needs, Jamaica thought. But she said okay, even though she didn't want to share her markers with him. Do you think Jamaica should share her markers with Russell? If you think no, why do you think she shouldn't? And if you think yes, why do you think she should? Russell brought his paper to Jamaica's table. He sat down beside her and grabbed her blue marker. Jamaica picked up her brown and orange markers to finish her picture. She didn't pay any attention to Russell. After a while, she peeked at his paper. Russell was making squiggly circles all over his page. We're supposed to draw a fall picture, Russell, Jamaica said. Who says? Mrs. Worth, don't you ever listen? I don't have to. Russell reached out with the blue marker and made a streak across Jamaica's picture. Russell, stop! Jamaica shouted, but Russell scribbled all over Jamaica's yellow-leafed tree. Mrs. Worth, Jamaica cried. Russell wrecked my picture. Mrs. Worth hurried over to their table. Russell, did you do this? She held up Jamaica's picture. Mrs. Worth couldn't get Russell to say, I'm sorry. He had to go sit alone and work on spelling until art was over. What do you think about how Russell is acting? What about his behavior? And how do you think Jamaica is feeling right now? Look what Russell did! Jamaica showed her father and brother when she got home. I tried, but I couldn't make another one as good as this. When she looked at the ugly blue squiggles, she had to swallow hard not to cry. Russell is a mean brat. Did you tell Mrs. Worth what happened? Her father asked. Jamaica nodded. Russell can't use my markers again. I shared with him because he didn't have any. He never has what he's supposed to have. But that's no reason to be mean. No, her father said. Russell shouldn't have messed up your picture. The next time they had art, Jamaica was glad Russell didn't sit at her table. Then he couldn't bother her, and she didn't have to share her markers with him either. But at recess, Russell threw sand at her and chased two second-grade girls, so he had to go to the office. Before he came back, Mrs. Worth said, I would like to tell you something. Can you keep a secret? Yes, Jamaica shouted with her classmates. We're going to have a going-away party for Russell on Friday. His father has a new job in another town. They will be moving over the weekend. I thought that you might like to make a card to say goodbye. Then Russell will have something to remember us by. Mrs. Worth passed out paper. Then she showed everyone how to fold the paper into a card. Jamaica didn't want to make a card for Russell. She was glad he was moving. Then he wouldn't bother her anymore. She put the paper in her desk. How does Jamaica feel about Russell moving? And do you think she should make him a card? At supper, Jamaica said, I like living here. I like my house and my room and the tree in the front yard. I like my school too. I'm glad you do, her mother said. I wouldn't like to move. Who said anything about moving? Ozzy asked. Russell is moving, Jamaica said. Lucky you. He won't mess up your pictures anymore, Ozzy said. I wonder how Russell feels about moving, Dad said. He might be upset. Has he talked about it? Russell doesn't say anything. He just gets in trouble, Jamaica said. Russell didn't come to the classroom on Friday morning. He was with his mother in the office. Jamaica looked at his empty desk. The next week, Russell would be gone. He wouldn't be at his desk ever again. She decided to make a card for Russell. She got out the blank card and her markers too. Why do you think Jamaica has changed her mind and decided to make a card for Russell? But just then, Mrs. Worth asked, Who are my helpers this week? Jamaica raised her hand. Jamaica, could you collect the cards and put them in Russell's desk? Brianna and Thomas, I'd like for you to clear the activity table for the plates and cups. Jamaica went from desk to desk to pick up the cards. She put the whole stack in Russell's desk. As soon as she closed his desk, Russell came in with his mother. The party started. They played games for a while and ate cake. Russell opened his desk and took out all the cards. Look, Mom, everybody made a card for me. Not everybody, Jamaica thought. She took the blue marker out of her marker bag. Then she ran up to Russell. This is for you, Russell. She handed him the marker. You can use it at your new school. But you might need it, he said. You like to draw. You draw the best pictures in class. What if you have to color the sky? Someone will share with me. Thanks, he said. You're lucky you get to stay here. Now Jamaica knew how Russell felt about moving. I wish you didn't have to move, she said. How is Russell feeling about moving, and how is he acting now? When Jamaica waved goodbye to Russell, she noticed that his mother was carrying his goodbye cards. Russell held up the blue marker and waved it at her as if he'd won a prize. Goodbye, Russell. I'll miss you, Jamaica said, and she meant it. What lesson did Jamaica learn in this story? What was the lesson that the author was trying to teach? What does the word wrecked mean? Jamaica said that Russell wrecked her picture. So what does wrecked mean? And use it in a sentence. How do the illustrations show the reader how the character is feeling? And that could be not just in Jamaica's Blue Marker, but in any book that we've read. How can the author illustrate how a character is feeling? And my last question is relating back to the David's drawing book. So I want to know, how is what Russell did to Jamaica's picture different than what David's friends did to David's picture in the book David's drawing? All right. Thank you for listening.